Evaluate the following expressions. The absolute value of a number is the number's distance from 0 on the number line. It is always greater than or equal to 0. We denote an absolute value using two vertical lines. X inside of these two vertical lines is read as the absolute value of X. As an example, this corresponds to the absolute value of -5, which is equal to +5. To evaluate an absolute value expression, perform all operations inside the absolute value symbols, just as you would if they were brackets. If the result is positive, simply remove the absolute value symbols. If the result is negative, change it to positive and still remove the absolute value symbols. For the first example, the absolute value of 3 minus 5, we first perform the 3 minus 5, giving us the absolute value of -2. We then change it to +2 as our final answer. For B, here we have two absolute values. We're taking the absolute value of -4. We also have the absolute value of 2 minus 4. First of all, changing the absolute value of -4 to 4, giving us -2 times 4. Then performing the operation inside the second absolute value, 2 minus 4 equals -2. So we subtract the absolute value of -2. We can then multiply the -2 times 4 to give us -8, and we'll change the absolute value of -2 to 2, giving us -2. We then have -8 minus 2 to give us -10. For the third question, here we have an absolute value expression inside an absolute value expression. Just as for brackets, we have to do the inside absolute value expression first. In this case, we have -5 squared. This corresponds to -25. Plus 2 times 3. 2 times 3 gives us 6. We can then add -25 plus 6 inside the inner absolute value expression. This gives us then the absolute value of -3 minus 2 times the absolute value of -19. The absolute value of -19, we can change it to 19, giving us the absolute value of -3 minus 2 times 19. Now we do what's inside the outside absolute value expression. We multiply 2 times 19. This gives us absolute value of -3 minus 38. And then -3 minus 38 is -41. The absolute value then of -41 is +41, which is our final answer.